Hello. This week's episode is kind of a stopwatch, which is about a boring person who gets a magnificent Twilight Zone gizmo, a stopwatch that stops time. Now, we've seen time stops before in the Twilight Zone, and it is related to my favorite effect of all time, people standing still, which is really, really difficult. And you can see that a lot in this episode. They do have a lot of lovely freeze frames, of course. So when he clicks and he looks out the window, everything is a freeze frame. But of course, that doesn't work when he's about to interact with people, like going around them and stuff. So there's a lot of people standing really quite still in this. When he starts testing out the actual stopwatch, the musical stings are fantastic. Yeah, there's a shift in music whenever he puts everything on hold. And I really like how they did that. They didn't go silent or anything like that, but they have this sort of upbeat music to it. It's not ominous. Another thing that isn't very ominous, which I really enjoy in this, is that despite how this episode turns out and everything that happens, there's no, while it's stopped, you can see someone moving, in the background, a shadowy figure. I think if this was remade now, they would have done something like that, which would have been a shame, I think. So, one of the bar patrons mentions that he wants to get some peace and quiet, which is a sort of foreshadowing, I guess, of a kind. Because that's the remake's name in the 80s series, Some Peace and Quiet, which is about someone else finding a stopwatch and using it to get some peace and quiet. And then it ends less tragically because it's not... I mean, it's tragic, very tragic, but it's not because of that character's greed, as this one turns out. I do want to point out one very subtle and lovely detail. So after he breaks his watch, he goes back to the office and just sort of passes through. And there is a person there who just dropped a piece of paper. Can you spot it? It is such a lovely little detail. I don't think anyone was, calling attention to it or anything like that, but it's still there. And it's great. I really appreciate it. There's some people who blink during time freezes. I mean, of course, standing still is really hard. I can't quite work out how the rules for this time slot works. So he moves curtains and he can move around things, but nothing else seems to be moving, but it is movable. And I'm not sure if it's because, and it's not because he holds the watch, or that the watch is working at least, because after the watch is broken, he can still open doors and things like that. And the trolley with money is still moving. So it must be tied to him somehow, that he enters the sub-time space and when he clicks the button, and then he can move things around. I wonder if he could, bring people by grabbing hold of them. Could he bring them into that subspace? Or at least interact with them as if he could? It's a worthwhile. I mean, it's a sci-fi geek sort of thing. Now, next week's episode is it's the last night of a jockey with Mickey Rooney, that's that'll be interesting. Okay, take care everyone, and see you then.